name is Olivia. Thanks for joining me on another video. I homeschool 2 kiddos. I have a 9-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys our plans for what I'm going to be doing school-wise in the summertime. So I do school year round with the kids. We take lots and lots of blocks and breaks and that sort of stuff. But I do not take a huge giant chunk off in the summertime. We did just get back from Hawaii. I feel so blessed that we were able to make that work. We pulled it off and it worked and it was so much fun, and my kids had never been on a plane before. And so it was a surprise. They literally found out the day we were leaving that we were going to Hawaii, that we were going on a vacation at all. And it was so special. And my husband has about 2 more weeks left of this vacation block. And so during this whole time, we have not been doing school. This is kind of like our summer break. But I wanted to show you guys what we would be doing when we get back into the swing of things. I do take things a little lighter. For my older son. He was a 3rd grader year and age-wise this last year. He's going into 4th grade and are going to be finishing up a couple things from this last school year. I'm not someone who tries to make it a priority to 100% complete every single curriculum that we work on or that we bring in to our routine at all. I feel pretty accomplished if we get through maybe 75 or 80% of a curriculum. I mean, we definitely school for 180 plus days a year, so it's not as if there's ever like a gap or anything like that just because we don't complete the curriculum from, page 1 to the last page. And anybody who's ever been, not me, but anybody who's ever been a school teacher, I have several friends who are school teachers or who are in the education department in general, and they're like, oh no, we don't always get through all of the curriculum. That would be amazing if we did, but we never do. So same here in this home. Sometimes I feel like we actually did complete something, so we move on to something else, and other times I just feel as if we've gotten what we need to get out of that and it's time to move on to another level. So I'm going to show you some newer things we're doing or some different things we'll be doing during the summertime, and then what we're going to be completing or working through a little bit more from this last school year. Even though we do school in the summertime, I do things a little bit lighter in the summertime because, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, and I know it's like that for lots of other places too, with different climates and what have you, but the best weather is summer and fall here in Washington State. I mean, it's literally supposed to rain tomorrow, and it's going to be July 3rd, and it forecasted rain for July 4th, but then it decided it wasn't going to. So even though there's still a little bit of rain, the best weather, it's driest and warm-ish in the summer and the fall, and we do try to get outside a lot more. So I do something different, and the core curriculum does tend to happen in the fall. Anyway, I'm gonna hop into what it is that we do in the summertime. So in the morning time, we get together and we do some Bible and some read alouds. This is what I'm doing for devotional study in the summertime. I picked this up like a year and a half ago, and the questions in here just didn't really provide the answers. It's kind of like you read a little bit of scripture and then you lead your kids to think about that through questions, but it didn't provide answers. And at the time I didn't feel confident enough explaining what the answer was that we were looking for. I feel more confident about that now. Also, it is meant for families. I do think that my 5-year-old probably won't be as engaged with this, which is fine. I think that this is sweet and it's simple and straightforward, and I appreciate that. So we'll start with something like this, sing some hymns, and then do whatever read aloud book that we are working on at that time, and then we'll kind of break up and do some individual subjects. So I'm going to jump into what my son is going to be doing this summer. Okay, we're going to be getting through just whenever he's done with this math book is when we move on to the next math level. We use the Primary Mathematics by Singapore. This is the old school one. This is the US edition. We're going to get through our American history supplemental reading set. I've shown this in several videos. I love, love, love this. It has a list of, I think there was 12 books on this one that relate to American history, and then there are guided reading questions per chapter. We're about 3/4 of the way done through this set. I was combining this set with his literature and our history curriculum that we use, and I'll link the video where I do a review and a flip through and kind of how I plan out my lesson for that down below. That also has a recommended but supplemental literature set to go with that as well. I bought all of the readers for both of the sets on top of his literature picks that we were doing, on top of his personal reading he was doing. So the fact that we're not all the way done with this, if this was just what you were doing for American history readers, this we would have been done already, and the books are fairly simple and they're super quick. So here's the next one that we have coming up. This is The Bears on Hemlock Mountain. This font is super wide and the pages are broken up with pictures, and it's a very thin reader. All right, next. This is also through Memoria Press. This is the States and Capitals from Memoria Press for geography. I really dropped the ball on this year. This and like art. This was one of those things where I realized it was the end of the month and he had maybe opened this book like once, and I was like, shoot, bud, do a state or two for me, okay? So what it is there's a parent guide that has all the answers. I love the way it's set up. They have a really cool 50 states reader book that you answer these questions for, and it's all colorful and it's really aimed towards kids and it's cool. And we enjoy this. My son likes doing this. I just always forget to do it. And we're still moseying our way through this. This is one that I would like to finish completely, just because I think it's important that he knows where the states are, and we don't really get to them like in everyday life as far as like chatting and stuff like that. I mean, every once in a while, if there's a current event that I think is appropriate to talk about with the kids, or you know, just in life, how random questions come up, we don't really get to a lot of American states and like talking where they're at and stuff. So I would like him to finish this. So we're gonna get through this before I move on to the world history that I shared in our upcoming curriculum years video. But yeah, I'll have him get through this. This also takes like 10 minutes during the day for him to read the book, fill out what he wants to fill out for that page. Next are the practice sheets for the 4-level analysis from the Michael Clay Thompson Language Arts set. This is for the island level still. We're about halfway through this. I'm not going to push that we completely get through this whole book before we move on to the next level in the fall when we get to our core curriculum. The next level up has their own practice booklet for the town level. So this is the island level. The next town level is going to have their own practice booklet. So we'll just do a couple of these a week and keep up our grammar practice that way. Okay, so this is the IEW. This is the Structure and Style 1A. We're about 3 weeks into this. We had already done about 3 weeks before we left for Hawaii, and that first day we left for Hawaii was our first day of our summer vacation. As far as the first 3 weeks, I think that this is super straightforward. My son never has any questions for me as far as what should he be doing. He doesn't understand that sort of thing. So we have the DVD set. We do not have the forever streaming because our service and our Wi-Fi and stuff like that, it drops all of the time where I'm at. And I did not want to be reliant on Wi-Fi or download space or however it works to stream it online. I like having the discs, and he has a little portable DVD player that is battery charged, and so he just plugs in his headphones and does his work, and then he moves on to something else. Is it super engaging? Well, actually, I mean, I think it's not bad. I watch the videos before he watches them. He actually asked me, he said, where is this classroom happening? You know, I explained it to him, and I told him like these were pre-recorded a while ago. This is not brand new. And he was like, oh, that's too bad. He seems like such a fun teacher. I wish I could be in his actual class, because if you've done IEW before and you've watched any of those videos, the instructor, Mr. Pudua, he's teaching to a class of kids the age that my son is, around the age my son is, and you know, they interact with the teacher and actually do the lessons that you are learning in the video too. And he says he's pretty funny and he actually likes that. So anyway, I thought that that was cool. If that tells you anything about if it's engaging, yeah, I think it must be, if he would be interested in sitting through a class from this video teacher. So the last thing that I'm going to do, and I don't know if I'm going to get through all of it. I've only cracked it open and looked at it. I haven't taught it or anything like that, is the music of the hemisphere. This is the poetry component of the Michael Clay Thompson. We do poetry in so many ways with so many of the other bits of our curriculum. So I did do a flip through and an explanation and a review and a suggestion of how we do lessons through the grammar and the writing portion of it. And it's taught in the same way, where it just has, it's kind of like you're reading a story. It doesn't super come off as textbooky. It kind of comes off as someone's just kind of talking to you as they explain this. There's not a whole lot of text on one page, which I think is nice, and that's approachable for kiddos too. I only bought the parent edition of this. I did not buy the student edition. There is a teacher resource section in the back, which is how the rest of the materials are set up for the other parts of this. I would highly suggest reading through the parent resources first. So yeah, I'll see how this goes. I'll see if we enjoy it. It's not really learning, it's not memorizing poems. I mean, there are some poems in here. It's more learning about poems and the components that you're going to find when you read poems, and rhyming and alliteration and some different literary components that way. It just wasn't something that I made a priority when we had so many other things on our plate, and I think the summertime is going to be a pretty good way of getting through this. If this is something that you guys would like a review on once we get into it or get through it or what have you, and maybe an example of how we do a lesson with it, I can do another video like that. So just let me know down below if that's something that you would be interested in. All right, for my daughter, who is going to be age-wise, she's gonna be a kindergartner this fall. We have been doing kindergarten work this whole last year. If she wanted to, if she woke up and, you know, we did our morning time stuff and she was like, no, actually, I just want to play. She was allowed to play and do whatever she wanted because she was a preschooler and I was not going to force her to sit down. She wanted to be part of what we were doing at the table and lessons and that sort of thing. So I did put together some different things for us to do. We are on Foundations Level B. We're about a quarter of a way through this curriculum. She is doing such a good job and I'm super proud of her. Super, super happy with this phonics set. So I'm going to continue to keep doing this. All right, a handful of months ago, maybe early spring, I saw a sale on Instagram ads in between stories. I swear they get me through there all of the time. Their AI is very on brand with what I continue to scroll through. Anyway, everything here in The Good and the Beautiful was laid out so simply, and there's lots of colors and it was engaging. And so I bought the Language Arts and Literature Level K. I also bought the Simply Good and Beautiful Math K. They were having like a half off sale on some stuff. These lessons are super short. This is lesson 39 and then there's lesson 40. This takes us 5, maybe 10 minutes at the max. She hasn't struggled with anything that we've done so far in this because I believe of the phonics, the foundation, the logic of English phonics that we were doing. She had already known all of the different sounds that any of the letters could have made. She knew the difference between short vowels and long vowels, and that's kind of where it starts in here. And so this was pretty simple for us to just jump into it. This takes us, like I said, 5 or 10 minutes max, and then she's done. We do a lesson in here, and then we're done in no time, and then we move on. So she's not sitting at the table forever and ever, and this is really great. We're gonna continue to do that through the summertime. I am not going to make it a priority to get through the very end of this if we don't by the summer or by the time I feel like my son's ready to start his core curriculum. If we still have not finished this yet, that's okay. I'm going to put it to the side and start her actual curriculum that I prepared for her actual kindergarten / first grade year. So I'll include that video down below as well. Okay, for as far as the Simply Good and the Beautiful Math K, this has been great so far. We are further along in the math than we are in the language arts because she asks to do multiple lessons every single day. These also take about 5 minutes to do, and she'll say, okay, can we do another one? She genuinely enjoys this and she thinks that's fun. And she is learning because it builds upon itself. This is a spiral approach, which I am not a fan of, especially for my older child. It really didn't work for him. And yes, it kind of works at this age because you're just introducing, I mean, they are foundational facts. You know, you're going to build upon this. These are important for knowing math at the next level and that sort of thing. I do wish that they had made this more of a mastery program instead of a spiral approach. Like say tally marks, you'll learn tally marks one day and then you'll also have a little bit of addition, and then the next day you'll go into subtraction and kind of touch on tally marks again, and then you won't touch on tally marks for like 4 or 5 lessons, and then they ask you to do tally marks again, and then you're going to be doing, you know, like fill in the 10 block, and like you just kind of, it's kind of like, you know, a spiral. You'll learn some things, you skip some, you come back to it, you skip some. And I had started first with a spiral approach for math for my son. That was the very first kind of curriculum that I bought him. And I looked specifically for a spiral approach because I was like, this is obviously a superior way to learn. I think that there's multiple ways to learn for different kids, and something's going to stick with a kid more than another method will stick with a different kid. So I'm just saying what works for my kid. You know, this way you don't forget anything and you come back to it and you're reminded again. And really at the end of that curriculum, though my child didn't stumble or ever have any issues, when we went to move on to a different curriculum that was the next level up, but it happened to be a mastery program, it was like everything that was learned was lost, and he didn't know how to apply the skills that he had learned. And he was like, no, I know I did multiplication, but I just can't remember. Once we started doing mastery, everything stuck until we moved on to the next topic, and it was great. Do I wish that this was like that? Yeah, I do. I do wish that this was like that. I don't think at this kindergarten level, this was a 2nd and 3rd grade level that I was talking about for my son. At a kindergarten level, I think just any kind of introduction to math at this level is going to be important and great, and that's kind of what I'm looking at this as, and so far it's been really awesome. I'm going to see how the day goes and if she's interested in doing any more after we get through that, depending on how many math lessons she wants to do. So that can take us anywhere from 5 minutes for a single lesson or up to 20 minutes if she wants to do multiple lessons at once. I want to get through more of the moving beyond the page curriculum that I bought. This is what we've been doing since the beginning of last fall for her. This is what I had purchased. This in the Phonics program, the Logic of English, is what I had purchased to complete for her preschool year. I mean, it's kindergarten work, but her preschool year, if she had wanted to do anything. I talk about this a little bit in my like mid-year review video. This is a literature-based program. In the kindergarten, every week you're going to have a new book that you're learning several different things through. What I love about this is there are art and activity components that come with the kit. You get this giant box, and every week has its own baggie full of whatever you're going to need for the resources for that week. And everything is labeled and put into that baggie, and then all the baggies are put into the box, and you really get everything, like mostly everything besides like pencils, okay? And I don't think they supplied me scissors, but you get paint and construction paper and just all the things. And I really think that that was helpful because I didn't have a lot of art stuff because I have a problem making sure that we include art into our homeschool because I'm not really an artsy person, but my kids love it. So when I found a literature-based with art program, I was like, this is fantastic. And so there's different days, and it tells you some different skills to go through. Every week you learn a new sight word, a new vocabulary word. And then there's different activities that you get to choose from. What do you think is going to be most helpful, or what are you going to get the most out of for your learner? So there's activity 1, 2, or 3 for each of the days, and it tells you kind of what to say and leads you through that for all of them. And we've read such cool books using this curriculum. And I have it, and I have all the books because I had purchased all the books. We had so much fun with this. And then we started doing the other stuff, and I kind of forgot. And also, I feel like for me, because I don't do just everything on the page, I kind of bounce around and find what it is that I think is going to be most helpful for my kid and what I'd like to accomplish for my kid. I feel like it doesn't have to be, this is just the way it is for me because my brain works this way. There was just kind of to go through it and choose out, schedule out for the week what I wanted to do. There was just kind of, I don't even want to say prep work. It was really just reading what they wanted you to do for that week and the different options, and then trying to fit that into what other subjects and activities I was doing for my older kiddo too, what we were gonna be able to have time to do as far as arts and crafts or what have you. And so I just kind of got lazy, and the Good and the Beautiful is open and go, and there was zero prep at all. I don't regret it, allowing myself to get into that curriculum, giving it a chance, and it's been great, and my daughter enjoys it, but this curriculum was so much more engaging, I feel like, and there was so many more things to do. This is for ages 4 to 5. They suggest this for kindergarten, but I also think that this is pretty okay for preschool because they give you options of what you're allowed to do, like not what you're allowed to do. They give you options for what to do, like there's a more advanced option, or there's kind of like an age, right on age group target option. I'm so out of breath and I don't know why. It's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, and if your learner is more advanced, like if you're actually using this for your kindergarten year, you just can do more. Just do everything that they suggest and offer. And if you have a kiddo who's, you know, a little bit on the younger side, like my daughter was 4 when we started this, I just kind of bounced around and only did what I thought was going to be fun, and she was going to be getting something out of it. I did look ahead for the first grade for this curriculum for first grade, and honestly, it looks kind of boring. This is super whimsy, and the book choices are just so fun. There's a mix between some light nonfiction and some, you know, make-believe stories. You learn the difference between fiction and nonfiction in here. There's a lot of classic books in here that they have for the weeks, which I enjoyed. The first grade looked a little boring, and I haven't looked at second grade because I haven't needed second grade yet. So for kindergarten, preschool / kindergarten, this is such a fun curriculum. So I'm gonna try to squeeze a couple of these weeks into our summer as well. All right, I think I got kind of chatty. My son has probably about like an hour and a half worth of work for all of those. And then depending on how many math lessons my daughter wants to do, she's maybe half an hour, maybe 40 minutes total. So the rest is lots of play, and we have camping trip planned. We have a vacation Bible school week planned coming up, and that's gonna be so fun. So it's not just school from here on out. We are definitely gonna be doing lots of play, and hopefully the sun comes out here and we'll get to be doing maybe some more water things. So I never went camping growing up, and so I do try to learn how to do it with friends who know a lot better than I do. I typically wind up going and doing these things without my husband because his work schedule is crazy, and so I wind up learning how to do these things on my own, and I'm blessed to have some great friends who are generous and know better than me. I am trying to fill this nice season full of outdoor things. So if you guys have any questions about any of the materials I spoke with today, or if you guys are wanting me to make any videos on any of the materials I brought up today, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys could share what you guys are doing in the summer. Are you guys doing school? Or you guys have a break with activities planned? Or you guys just have a low-key summer planned? Please share that with me down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.